Yo, yo, what's going on, my fellow wrestling fans? Welcome to a brand new week, and welcome to a brand new edition of what we like to call the Clash of Le Champions, where we talk about the different controversies, storylines, personalities, and all that bullshit in between that center around this world we know and love as professional wrestling. I'm your host, the vegan you believe in, Conscious Kurt, aka the Professor in the flesh as always, and my co-host needs no introduction, but fuck it. Going to give y'all one anyway.
That's right, ladies and gentlemen. This is tag team partner Jonathan Randall at your guys' service, Mr. Life of the Party, the adventurer himself, and welcome to this podcast that we like to just talk about this lovely soap opera called professional wrestling. Kurt, how you been?
Been pretty good, man. I'm gearing up for my move 2 weeks from today, to be exact. I already sold my car. I sold a couple of things for my apartment, a few more to go. And yeah, I'm really kicking this shit into high gear. It is happening.
Oh yeah, I heard about that. Yeah, you're moving. You're finally making that move to New Jersey, as we mentioned in our last episode. So good for you.
Yeah, I feel really good about it now, like more than I have probably since I decided to do this. Now really feel good about it, like especially when I think about, my life in Atlanta the last 3 years and also the situation I have waiting for me there and like the good head start I'm gonna have. Yeah, this is definitely like a no-brainer. A definite no-brainer, and I'm looking forward to it.
Awesome, man. Can't wait for that. Good for you. Glad, happy for you, man. What has been moving, though, speaking of moving, what has been moving is the constant news and the drama that surrounds in our world professional wrestling, both going on in WWE, both on Raw and SmackDown.
Yes, a lot of craziness has gone down since we last spoke to you guys 2 weeks ago. But before we get into that, I'm going to get into some very tragic news. As this past Friday, Afa Anoa'i of the Wild Samoans, very legendary tag team, passed away at 81 years old.
Rest in peace. Uh, Tragedy here, man. First his tag team partner passed away not too long ago, and now Afa did, man.
And not even just his tag team partner, his brother.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's
yeah,
crazy, man. They died literally like within not even 2 months of each other.
right.
Yeah, it's some eerie shit. I hear things like this happening all the time, specifically with dogs. I knew somebody who owned two pit bulls, and then one of the pit bulls died, and then like within a few days or a few weeks, the other pit bull died, like mainly out of loneliness.
Oh no, are you for real?
Yeah, that I fear of things like that happening all the time, and even with deaths with people, like let's say like a couple has been together for 50, 60 years or however long it's been, like if one person dies, like the other person will sometimes like die like not too long after because they literally like just can't live without them. And it's possible that this could have happened in this case.
Possibly, yeah, possibly.
Yeah, but I feel really bad for the family, especially considering that they just lost Sika like not even 2 months ago, and now they're losing Afa. Yeah, I really feel for like Roman, the Usos, everybody else in the family. Yeah, it's got to be a definite rough time right now,
Hmm.
which I can relate to.
Understandable, very understandable. But just like his brother, Alpha, but just he had a profound impact as a tag team along with his brother. Both that whole entire tag team set the stage for a lot of Samoan heritage and in the wrestling business.
Yeah, in many ways, they were kind of like the top of the family tree of like the Anoa'i family in wrestling. They're kind of like, in a sense, the top of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we didn't watch obviously during that era when the Wild Samoans were around. Obviously, we weren't even born yet. But yeah, you just always hear stories about how intimidating that team was and how like you did
Hmm.
not want to be on the opposing side going against them back in that era. Yeah, because it'd be a wrap.
Right. Right.
Like I feel like before the Road Warriors were the most intimidating tag team, the Wild Samoans were the most intimidating tag team.
Oh, I agree with that. They look intimidating. They had that look. So
Yeah, they had that look, and they were a force to be reckoned with. They were the tag team champions multiple times. They were managed by Captain Lou Albano, and yeah, they ran through that roster back in those early '80s years. Yeah, they were not to be
Yeah.
fucked with.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's just too bad that I heard that Afa was initially fired from that stint in WWE back then because he left the tour once to go be home for the birth of his son.
Right. That's a damn
Yeah.
shame.
Yeah, sharp contrast to the times we live in now, but we'll get into that later. But then Afa eventually did come back into WWE in 1992 as the manager of the Head Shrinkers, which included his nephew Fatu and his son Samu. Samu, the other part of the Head Shrinkers, Samu was his actual son.
Oh, okay, okay.
Yes, and this is what I remember Afa from specifically because I first started watching wrestling in 1994, and the Head Shrinkers were actually the tag team champions when I first started watching.
Hmm.
Yeah, I remember that match being good where they beat the Quebecers for the belts, like in '94, like right after WrestleMania 10. Yeah, I remember that being a good match.
Okay.
Yeah, Alpha was a big part of the Head Shrinkers act back in the day. I remember being scared as shit of him back then. Because I remember like when the opponents would get like thrown outside the ring, he would hit him with that big ass stick. It would make that loud ass sound. Yo, bro, yeah, that shit was gruesome, son.
You said it scared you?
Yo, he was an intimidating dude, and he would like bash the shit out of you with that stick. Yeah, it would make a similar sound to the one that happened when Bianca whipped Sasha with her braid like at WrestleMania all those years ago.
Right. Hmm.
Yeah, intimidating dude. That's kind of my first memories of him was like when he was the manager of the Head Shrinkers, and then he eventually retired. And then after he retired, he started the Wild Samoan training facility, which is where he trained a lot of wrestlers. Most notably, the biggest star to come out of that training school was Batista.
Right. And that's funny. I remember one of Batista's wrestling matches. Because I remember Michael Cole had mentioned how he was trained by the Wild Samoans.
I like that story that Batista told in his documentary, like when he walked into the Wild Samoans training school. When Afa first saw him, he was like, Papi, where have you been? We've been waiting for you this whole time. What took you so long? Yeah, the Wild Samoans backstage always had a good reputation. They were always very well liked. Amazing legacy they had throughout these years of being in the wrestling business. But it is fitting that their last time being on WWE television was at that Hell in a Cell in 2020 when they were there to congratulate Roman after that Hell in a Cell match.
Yeah. And that's
When they
when they donned the the well known chief necklace, the lei.
Yeah, they put it on him. They hugged him, raised his hand. Yeah, that was a fitting final appearance for both of them on
Yeah.
WWE TV. Yeah, but too bad, man. 81 years old, passed away of a heart attack.
Oh man.
And considering this happening, I think we won't be seeing certain people on TV for a little while, which we'll get into in a few minutes.
Yeah, but rest in peace. Our thoughts and our condolences go out to his entire family. All the members of that family. As a big family. But give our condolences out to them, man. So rest in peace.
Yeah, it has to be a horrible summer for that family. They must be really going through it,
Yeah.
really. And also, since we last spoke to you guys, another legendary wrestling personality passed away, and that was Kevin Sullivan.
Yeah. Yeah, I heard about that too, man.
Yeah, I remember him very vividly from WCW. When I first started watching WCW, he was one of the main villains. I know it hasn't aged well. Hell, it wasn't even good back then. But one of my main memories of Kevin Sullivan was when he was the leader of the Dungeon of Doom faction.
Yeah, they were showing clips of that, and this was during the time, when WCW wasn't, like a little bit of a joke back then.
Yeah, it
And
was trash. I was watching
yeah,
back then. I didn't think anything of it because I was a kid. But looking back at it now, I'm like, yo, what the fuck is this shit?
right. Oh man.
Yeah, but we did get the Giant, aka Big Show, from the Dungeon of Doom.
Yeah. Yeah.
That
Yeah, they
was the
showed
one
him in
plus
there.
to it. But the main thing that stood out to me from Kevin Sullivan in WCW, the main thing I liked the most were his matches with Chris Benoit.
Hmm.
One of them that I remember very vividly from Great American Bash 96, like when they fight into the crowd and they fight into like the men's room. Yeah, like they were not doing that shit before then at that time, especially in WCW.
Wow. That is interesting.
Yeah, those matches the two of them would have against each other were brutal, bro. Yeah, they would beat the hell out of each other. And this is even before the whole Nancy Benoit part of it got implemented.
Hmm.
Because that's like when it really got worse, like when they try to make it into a storyline where Kevin Sullivan's wife at the time, Nancy, was having an affair with Benoit, and then it actually turned into a real thing in real life. Holy shit. Yeah, people always made that joke that Kevin Sullivan booked his own divorce.
Whoa.
Yeah, I even remember some of those skits from back then where like Chris Benoit would be with Nancy like at a restaurant and they would like be drinking wine and have their arms around each other. I didn't realize that it was like actually based off of real life stuff. Shit.
That's crazy.
Yeah, so I mainly remember him from that. He was also a booker in WCW multiple times. And it's so funny, the reason why the Radicals left WCW and went to WWE in like that early part of 2000 was because Kevin Sullivan at the time was made the head booker.
Yeah, and before we went on the air, I had mentioned how I watched the Who Killed WCW documentary, and Kevin Sullivan was a big part of those interviews in those episodes because he was the writer and the one of the bookers of WCW, especially during that time.
Yes, he was, but because Benoit and Sullivan had that animosity because of the way, Nancy left Sullivan for Benoit, he wasn't really trying to work with him that way, especially him being in charge of his career that way. So then I guess as a make good, they put the belt on Benoit at that sold out show, but even with that, he still quit anyway, along with the rest of them.
Ah, hmm.
Yeah, but is what it is. But yeah, legendary career, legend in this industry, and yeah, he will not be forgotten. But even at Fenway Park, considering that he was a big fan of the Red Sox, they even put up a graphic for him.
When? Oh, when did this happen? I didn't know this.
Like a week and a half ago, like right after he died, they put up a graphic
I
at one of
did
the games
not.
for him.
I did not know that. That's a nice gesture. I like that. And it's pretty interesting that you mentioned baseball because Randy Orton threw the first pitch at a St. Louis Cardinals game about a week ago.
Oh, good shit. That's what's up.
Yeah, very cool.
Yeah,
I love seeing wrestlers when they're like throwing the first pitch at a baseball game or just or just being there at a sporting event. You know what I mean? I like seeing stuff like that.
there's one first pitch from a celebrity that I'll never forget that happened last year.
Was this at a Yankees game? No.
I don't even know what fucking game it was at, but I just remember the sight of the person throwing that first pitch.
Well, who was it?
Megan the Stallion,
Oh, I think I do remember that.
for obvious reasons.
Okay.
Look, I'm not crazy about her music. Her music's not my cup of tea, but she is one
No, I'm not talking about. No, 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 no. I'm not talking about her music. I'm just like I remember. So
incredible looking woman.
she is.
All right, but rest in peace to Kevin Sullivan. His legacy and his contributions to wrestling definitely will not be forgotten, and definitely a character in wrestling that I'll never forget.
Rest in peace, man.
To him and Afa.
Yes.
But we did have SmackDown this past Friday night taking place from Orlando, Florida. And it was a very noteworthy show, as not only do we have new number one contenders for the Bloodlines tag team titles, which are now the Street Profits, but we also had a hot angle to end the show where Roman Reigns seemingly fought off Tama Tonga and Solo Sikoa and was about to reanoint himself the tribal chief by putting the leg over his head. But as he was about to do this, he was attacked by Jacob Fatu.
Damn it! Damn it! Damn it! And the whole crowd reaction of him, retrieving that lay back. It was like that sense of power that he had back. And just to let you know and everybody else know, that lay Kurt, is called the Ula Fala. I just looked it up.
Ula Fala. Ula Fala.
Yeah,
Yes,
Ula Fala.
he was about to put back on the Ula Fala, but then Jacob Fatu attacked him wearing a walking boot, actually. So it looks like he legit was hurt at SummerSlam.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. He was wearing. We all saw that photo of him wearing a walking boot the day after. So yeah, that's legit. And I forgot to tell you this, but yeah, he said he was going to be back in action towards the end of the month. So hey, at least it's not a bad injury where that's going to keep him out for a long time or eventually miss this upcoming, you know, storyline, or should I say a Bloodline Civil War Part 2.
Yes, we're more than likely going to get a Bloodline Civil War because
Part
from this
2.
attack, yeah, because Jacob Fatu beats the hell out of Roman him with the butt
Mm,
buckle, and then all the members of the Bloodline proceeded to triple powerbomb Roman through the announce table.
crazy.
Fuck. So now everything that Roman was doing to everybody else on the roster all these years, he's having it done to him.
Yep. He's gonna. All I have to say moving forward is that he's gonna need some backup.
Yeah, it was very clear from this attack that he's going to need major backup.
Yeah.
And also from this attack, it's pretty clear that Roman's probably not going to be on TV for the next few weeks.
Yeah. Do you think so? Most likely, he's gonna not participate in the Bash in Berlin premium live event.
Probably not. From what I'm hearing and from the way it's looking, he more than likely won't be back on TV until the September 13th episode of SmackDown, which will be their first episode back on USA.
Okay.
Yeah, so the way it looks from that attack, he's probably going to be gone until then. And also considering that Afa just passed away, he's probably going to be dealing with that stuff for a while. So yeah, going to be off TV for a minute.
Understandable.
I even heard something else that it was supposed to be kind of like a Bloodline Civil War at SummerSlam, like Roman was going to come back sooner, but then because of the fact that Sika passed away, they had to push it back.
No, honestly, this what they did was the right thing to do. Have him make that big return at SummerSlam, and then let that build up, and then you have. I think everybody knows this, Kurt, but including you, that a potential, that Bloodline matchup will be War Games at Survivor Series.
Yeah, it definitely looks like it's heading in that direction. And yeah, I think Roman is definitely going to get help in the form of obviously Jimmy and Jey Uso, and also more than
Mm-hmm.
likely Sami Zayn since his feud with Braun Breaker's all wrapped up.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I feel like it's definitely going to go in that direction. I feel like this is smart. I feel like this will definitely give things more time to like play out and drag out a little bit. But yeah, but that angle they did on SmackDown Friday night was hot and definitely sets things up for the next few months. But we will see how it plays out.
Everything's all shaping up greatly, man, and there's a lot of other things happen on SmackDown. What do you thought about the presentation for Nia Jax as a new women's champion?
It was cool. I like how she came out like on the throne. That was really dope.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm talking about right there. I love that.
Yeah, and she was trying to get Tiffany Stratton to like bow down to her and all that. But then before this could even happen, Mead Shin came out and attacked her with a kendo stick and like cleared everybody out of the ring. So now it's going to be Nia Jax against Mead Shin for the women's title this coming Friday on SmackDown.
Okay.
And also, since the Street Profits defeated DIY in an incredible match on SmackDown last Friday, they will be challenging the Bloodline for the tag titles this Friday also on SmackDown.
You know what? I kind of feel bad for DIY because like, man, they just like they had those belts and they got it, snatched from them like that. But at the same time, I am happy for the Street Profits because they need this position. You know what I mean? They need that. They really haven't been pushed like this in a while. So
Yeah, it'll be great to have them in this spot. I don't know if they're going to probably win or not,
no,
but
no,
it's
no, no,
great.
no, 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 no. No, of course not. No, but I'm just saying I'm happy to see them in this position because they haven't really been pushed in a while. So
Yeah, the last major shot of the tag titles I can think of that they had was against the Usos at SummerSlam 2 years ago.
yeah, that's a wow.
Yeah, I kind of feel for them a little bit, especially Montez Ford, because it kind of feels like they're in limbo right now.
Yeah, man. Ever since, especially, with Bobby Lashley, getting released, and you kind of just like, man, like where to go from now, and you just don't feel that I don't know, like that urge anymore. And speaking of Montez Ford, we all thought that this dude was gonna, become a singles competitor, man, because I remember, when we first saw him compete in that Elimination Chamber match, was like what, a year ago, right?
Year and a half ago, yeah.
Yeah, like we all saw how, like, oh, there's a lot of potential in this guy future wise as a singles competitor, but they never broke the Street Profits up. I thought, we all thought they were gonna break him up at one point.
Yeah, it seemed that way, but then they just kept them together. And I
Yeah.
could definitely see, considering that it was like looking like he was gonna, get to that next level from that match and to see where he's at now, I could
Hmm.
definitely see Montez Ford being super frustrated and constantly telling himself, like, yo, what the fuck am I doing? Where the fuck am I going? What the fuck is up?
Hmm.
Yeah, I could definitely see that going on. Hell, even with Bianca and Jade Cargill for that matter.
You know what, man? Like I've seen stuff like this happen before in wrestling, where I think it happens to the best of everybody, where like you have, whether you're a man or woman in the business, like you have that one hot year, you're just on top of your game, you're the champion most likely, you're just you're on top of your game, and then the following year you're not the champion, and you're just kind of like having like a down year. The storylines are just a little bit mellow or whatever. I've seen stuff like this happen.
Yeah, it does. Obviously, who can ever forget Stone Cold Steve Austin in 2002 being one example?
Yeah, man. I'm looking back at those episodes from that year, and I was just looking like, man, this is not good. I was like, it was mellowed out for him. That's like the only way I could describe it for him.
And like I said before, I don't agree with the way he handled it. But looking back at it now, like even before he walked out, like the shit they had him on TV doing the weeks
Yeah,
before, yo, I could definitely see why he was pissed off and why he felt like he was being pushed out.
it goes back to what I'm saying earlier. Some wrestlers, they have that little bit of a that down, kind of like an off year. I think things will pick back up for Bianca Belair once Jade Cargill and her start feuding. And then after that, one of them will like transition to get back into the title hunt. So right now they're just it is mellow. It's just it happens to everybody, man. It happens.
I feel like taking the titles off of them was a mistake.
Yeah, but they're trying to chase after it though. I saw their recent posts about how they the titles that they won back.
Bro, how entertaining have you been by their chase? And how interesting has their chase been since they've lost the belts?
I mean, I'm just saying that's what they're doing, but it's just like, I don't know. It's really not. What's it clicking?
Yeah.
I don't know, man. Like what? It's just.
Yeah, I'll say this. I was really enjoying their tag title run, like them wearing the matching outfits, like their secret handshake, how they would play off of each other and all that. It was entertaining. It was a fun part of the show. And that's why I thought it was a mistake to take the titles off of them so soon. I get why they did it to give Isla Dawn and Alba Fire that great moment in Scotland, especially considering that one of their parents passed away the month before. I get all that, but hindsight being 2020, this has not worked. And how interesting are Isla Dawn and Alba Fire for that matter too? Like what much have they done since they've gotten the belts?
Not really. Nothing.
Exactly, exactly. Look, it would have been cool if they just did it for like that night, then put the belts right back on Bianca and Jay like maybe a week later or a few weeks later. But yo, it's been already over 2 months now.
I know.
Yeah, they've really cooled off big time since they
You
lost
know
those
what?
belts.
I
I hate to
think
say
with
it, but
them, I think with Bianca and Jada trying, going after those titles, and them losing it, I think that could be the little cracks that could, break them up. You lose the tag team titles, they want to go back after it, but hey, what if they never regain them? And that could cause a rift between the both of them. You know what I mean?
oh yeah, I could definitely see that happening.
Long term, yeah.
Yes, and actually, the two of them, along with Naomi, are scheduled to take on Isla Dawn, Alba Fire, and Blair Davenport. this Friday on SmackDown.
Mm. I mean, I understand what you're saying about how, taking the belts off was a mistake, but I'm a firm believer of long term, not short term, where, hey, them losing the belts, and then, later on, they want, eventually you are going to want to chase after the belts. And if they never get it, again, that will be like the first cracks in their tag team. That'll eventually will lead them to breaking them up.
I mean, only time will tell. The two of them facing off against each other is inevitable. But we'll see if they'll get another run with the tag titles before that. People are already complaining that Jade's run in AEW was better than her run in WWE, and how WWE isn't, using her to her full potential, all that other jazz, and also giving credibility to all those things about Triple H being racist. Yeah, a lot of that bullshit I've been seeing come up a lot lately.
Wow.
Look, Triple H isn't Hulk Hogan.
No. God,
Nah,
no.
nah.
Huh.
I wouldn't accuse Triple H of that. I mean, 20 years ago, would I have accused him of, holding other wrestlers back and, politicking his way to get what he wants? Sure. But as far as being racist and all that jazz, I'm not going to call him that. I don't have enough proof to call him that. Or any proof.
No, we have no proof at all. I mean, we're not around him. We don't work in a company. So, no, this, at the end of the day, regardless of what people have to say, ever since Triple H has been in charge, business has been booming.
Oh, definitely. Yeah, I've even said it on that post.
Yeah, it's been way better.
I sent you that post earlier, describing everything about Vince and how the product's better now that he's gone now. And yeah, a lot of that can be credited to Triple H. Say what you want about Triple H, but as far as having a mind for wrestling and knowing what works and doesn't work, he is a master at that. He has a proven record of being right more than he's wrong.
I agree.
Yeah.
And I absolutely love it. The arenas are selling out fast. I mean, look, the Bad Blood event coming up in October in Atlanta sold out.
Madness.
Fast. And I'm over here on pins and needles waiting for the announcement when WrestleMania tickets go on sale. So, and I know that crap is going to sell out fast.
Yeah, it can't come soon enough, but we'll see what happens with Jade and Bianca. I really hope they spice things up with them soon.
They will.
Because I feel like the both of them are way too valuable and have way too much to offer to kind of just be not relevant and not being used to do something relevant.
Yeah. I know. It's just it's downtime right now. So like I said, it happens. So we'll see what happens moving forward.
Yes, but we did have Raw this past Monday from my old neck of the woods of Fort Lauderdale, Florida, and the same arena of the world champion of the NHL Florida Panthers.
Stanley Cup champions.
Yes, I've been to that arena many a time. It was cool to see them go back there for Raw. I actually went to my very first Raw at that arena in 1999.
Nice.
Yeah, so we had Raw there this past Monday, and on Raw, it was made official for Bash at Berlin. It will be the rematch between CM Punk and Drew McIntyre, but this time it'll be a strap match.
When was the last time we seen a strap match?
Well, in AEW last year, they had one between Ricky Starks and Bryan Danielson and All Out.
Yeah, but
that match was crazy too.
Yeah.
It's really hard to think about the last one in WWE. The best one in WWE that I can think of, the one that I really liked a lot, was the Stone Cold and Savio Vega one from Beware of Dog.
I knew you were going to bring that up. I knew you were going to bring that one up. Yeah.
Yeah, that match was crazy.
I like this stipulation. I don't recall any recent memory recently where they did a match like this before. It's been a long time, but I do love the stipulation. Again, when you have feeds like this, I love how the first match is a normal match. Then, most likely your second match, there is a stipulation to it. And I love it. And like I said, calling it right now, I could go to one of the casinos and make a bet. If I want to right now, that Bad Blood will be Hell in a Cell between CM Punk and Drew McIntyre.
Yeah, it's inevitable. Yeah, but it was funny that CM Punk in his promo was talking about all the people he met at that Fanatics Fan Fest over the weekend, and how like a bunch of people brought him
Uh,
bracelets to come to make up for the fact that Drew McIntyre stole his, and he was like saying thank you for all
yeah,
that.
how nice! I saw that. How nice! What a nice gesture. Love that.
But you know what's funny? That segment between Punk and McIntyre from Raw has been heavily criticized, and they're calling it by far the worst segment between the two of them since their feud started.
Really.
Yeah, I mean, look, it wasn't my favorite. I didn't think it was that incredible, but I think that is a little harsh.
Hmm. Was it too long, or just it was like the pace of it, or just
The intensity, also, I guess like Punk, kind of like sucking up to the crowd, saying the reason why the business is so great right now is because of you. You guys are the reason. You guys are the voice. You guys are the X Factor. All that jazz. People were kind of like not feeling that part of it.
okay? It's kind of like, yeah, we heard it before. Like, get to the point, kind of deal, right?
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, but
I,
whatever. The match at Bash at Berlin should still be interesting.
yeah.
Yeah, so we have that official for Bash at Berlin. Also, we had the further development of the storyline between Damian Priest and Rhea Ripley, and also the new version of Judgment Day, who I'm hearing are
Mm.
going to have a new nickname called Street Trash.
Ah.
That's kind of fitting, actually.
Street what again?
Street Trash.
Huh.
Yeah, but this past Monday on Raw, they were going to have a match between Damian and Dominic, but as Damian was heading to the ring, he was attacked by all the members of Judgment Day. But then Rhea came out to assist them and they cleared everyone out until they eventually got Dominic all to themselves. And as they were double teaming him, and as Rhea Ripley was about to put Dom through the announce table, he was saved by his new mommy, Liv Morgan, who attacked Rhea Ripley, threw her up against the post, hit her with an Oblivion, and then all the other rest of the members of Judgment Day attacked Damian Priest, including Finn Balor hitting him with a coup de grace and Dominic hitting him with a frog splash.
Man.
And since we last spoke to you guys, it has been made official that at Bash at Berlin, it will be a mixed tag match between Damian Priest and Rhea Ripley and Dominic and Liv Morgan.
As we predicted, I knew they were going to do this.
Yeah, it makes sense because obviously they're not going to do Damian and Finn right away. They're going to hold off on it for a while. So yeah,
Yeah.
this is a good direction going.
Yeah. Knew it.
And now they're teasing Rhea Ripley getting her hands on Dominic and like getting the better of Dominic, and it keeps getting interrupted. So yeah,
Hmm.
we're definitely building to that eventually happening too.
Okay. Yeah. I love it. The card is shaping up. We have that. Um, I forgot to mention on SmackDown that they announced Cody Rhodes wants Kevin Owens to be his opponent, and it was made official that for the WWE Championship, Cody Rhodes will defend his title against Kevin Owens.
Yes, and from what happened on SmackDown this past Friday when Kevin Owens was trying to pick up the belt briefly, but then he handed it back to Cody, it's looking like Kevin Owens will more than likely turn heel very soon, which
Oh
makes
yeah,
sense. Which makes sense. I feel like it's
yep,
time. He's been a babyface long enough. I feel like it's time.
yeah. And if I'm being quite honest with you, he is better as a heel than a babyface.
Oh hell yeah!
Yeah,
2016
15.
Kevin Owens was 2015, 2016 Kevin Owens was the best Kevin Owens.
Yeah, absolutely, without doubt. Look, there are certain wrestlers where you have to play both parts, but which side do you lean on more? Which one makes you better? And there are certain wrestlers where, hey, you are better as a heel. Kevin Owens is one of them. Randy Orton is on top of that list. I'll put Triple H on that list as well. So yeah, like it fits. Kevin Owens is fit better as a heel. So we'll see what's going to happen moving forward. I don't know if he's going to turn. Well, we do have like a week left, right? So I don't know. Maybe they'll turn him heel after the Bash in Berlin event. Maybe because I think because we have like a week left. If it was like, if it was like like couple weeks or or later, then I would have said like, oh, he's gonna turn heel, before the event. But we'll see what happens.
Yeah, I think he's definitely turning. I think when he does turn, it will probably be more than likely at Bash in Berlin after the match is over. I think he's going to lose,
Mm,
obviously, and then that's going to set
mm,
him off.
mm.
And also at Bash at Berlin, we are going to have Gunther defending the world title in his first title defense against Randy Orton.
You know what? Out of all the matches outside of CM Punk and Drew McIntyre, I think this match right here, I'm really looking forward to the most.
And for good reason. I think also it's
Yeah.
going to be the main event. I think more than likely it's going to close the show
Hmm.
too.
Okay.
Because it's in Berlin, close enough to Gunther's homeland, and he's the
Hmm.
champion now. It's a big match. So yeah, I could see it main
Yeah.
eventing.
Yeah, definitely. And I'm loving the segments between the two.
Yeah, they've been pretty good. And Randy Orton even laid out Gunther with an RKO on Raw last Monday after the show went off the air,
Yeah, out of nowhere.
following Orton's match with Ludwig Kaiser.
Yeah. Ah, damn it! I love Gunther as champion. He hasn't even had he hasn't had the match yet, man, with the title, and he's already doing a good job already.
Yeah, and the belt looks great on him too. The belt just fits.
Yeah. Oh. Oh my God. There's there's something that I saw on Twitter. Right. I want to ask you this question. They're saying going into WrestleMania next year, they're saying, should CM Punk, compete for the title, title main event at WrestleMania next year. But I was saying to myself, Gunther had just became champion, and I think he's gonna hold on to that belt until then. I don't know what they're gonna do. Man, I want to see CM Punk get that moment finally where he has a main event. You know what I mean? Because it's most likely how the way things are going right now, Kurt. They're most likely going to do CM Punk versus Seth Rollins at Mania next year, which was the original plan for earlier this year, but they didn't because of CM Punk's injury. But as far as like like a title match, I don't know because of the fact that Gunther is champ right now, and then I see him still holding on to that belt going into Mania. So, but like I said, anything could happen though. I don't know what's your take on that?
Anything is possible. Maybe Punk could be in the title picture
Yeah,
against Gunther. Maybe Punk will move to SmackDown and maybe he'll have a feud with
yeah.
Cody. Or maybe Rollins will win the title before WrestleMania and they'll have Punk and Rollins for the title. Yeah, anything's possible, but yo, that shit is still 7 months away. Hell, 8 months away.
I know. It just because somebody mentioned it and it piqued my brain. I was like, this is interesting take to talk about. And you're talking about Punk eventually. Maybe what if he feud with Cody? I think honestly, I would love to see. And this is an early prediction. I'm predicting that Orton will face Cody at WrestleMania. Will be perfect to do it.
I don't know if they can wait that long, man, because really, Cody's running out of challengers for his title right now.
Yeah, I mean, why do you think they did to Kevin? Well, see, here's the thing though, between him and Kevin, they could. You need to remember. So this one, Bash in Berlin, and then after that, we have two more Premium Live events remaining this year. We have Bad Blood and we got Survivor Series, right? They could stretch out Cody and Kevin for the remainder of this year.
I could see them stretching it out until maybe Crown Jewel, but after that, I feel like it would be time for him to move on to Randy Orton. So I could see maybe Cody and Randy Orton maybe at the Royal Rumble.
I don't know. I think if you do that, man, it will be better because you got to remember the history between those two, and that will be so
Yeah,
much better
but
for Mania, though. But like, I just again,
that would be great for Mania. But there's one person you're forgetting about that Cody has unfinished business with,
um,
who's supposed to be back around January time when Raw moves to Netflix.
damn it, who
Are you really asking me that, man?
unfinished business with?
Yes, somebody that Cody has unfinished business with from WrestleMania, who disappeared after WrestleMania and said he was coming for Cody's title when he came back.
Oh, Roman Reigns.
Are you fucking kidding me?
What, he disappeared after WrestleMania?
Yes, the night after WrestleMania, this dude confronted Cody, asked to hold the belt for a
Oh,
second,
The
and Cody
Rock.
actually,
The Rock.
yes,
I don't know. Well, I don't know what they're gonna do because they could do Roman versus Rock. I don't know what they're gonna do.
it was obvious from what happened the night after WrestleMania that Cody and Rock is the eventual destination. I don't know when they're gonna do that match, but it kind of seemed as if they were gonna save it for WrestleMania next year. But who knows? Like I don't know if they can really hold off on Cody versus Randy Orton for that long. Yeah, 7 more months until that match. Yeah, that seems like it's pushing it. And Cody's already running out of challenges to begin with. Yeah, that's been the biggest red flag to his title reign so far is that he hasn't had like really enough credible challenges where like you really think there's a chance that he could lose.
You think it's the probably like the roster issue on certain shows? Maybe you feel like maybe that Raw has more of a depth of stars on that show more than they do on SmackDown.
I guess that's a part of it, at least on the bad guy side of it.
Man, I feel like there's not enough heels. Honestly, as I don't know.
Yeah, because that was the thing. That feud with The Rock and Roman was so hot and like the biggest thing going into WrestleMania. Then after WrestleMania, both of those dudes left. So like anybody else he was feuding with after that was going to be considered less than.
Right. I don't know. Like I said, anything can happen. I thought it was an interesting take from what I heard. I honestly see Gunther holding on to that belt until WrestleMania.
Yeah, I could see it too. So yeah, he's more than likely beating Randy Orton, and I feel like after Orton loses this match, this might set him off and be like the catalyst to him turning against Cody.
Yeah.
And also, I think at Bash at Berlin, they're probably gonna add this match. They're gonna probably add the Isla Dawn and Alba Fire against Bianca and Jade tag team title match. I feel like Friday on SmackDown is gonna probably set that up, and we're gonna get that as the fifth match on Bash at Berlin.
It's been a while since they've been on a card for a premium live event.
Yeah, Bianca and Jade haven't been on the last two of them.
They weren't at SummerSlam.
They weren't in Money in the Bank either. Yeah, I feel like this will probably go down as Bianca's like weakest year since she like really became a
Hmm.
top woman or like one of the main women in the company. This will definitely go down as like as her least significant year.
It happens to everybody.
Yeah, it's no big deal. She'll be
It
fine.
happens.
And
Yeah.
maybe in a sense, she was cool with like slowing down and like not doing as much compared to her schedule was
True.
like when she was champion.
True. True. That is true.
Yeah, it's possible, but yeah, we're probably gonna get the setup for that match. So yeah, Bash at Berlin looks like it's gonna be a pretty fun show. I don't think it tops SummerSlam. It doesn't seem as interesting as SummerSlam from what I see of it, but it's still I think will deliver in the end.
Yeah. 10 p.m. Pacific time.
It's 10 a.m. son. You're reading it wrong. It's 10 a.m.
Oh, so it's in the morning. I
Yes,
don't know,
yeah,
I
you've been
don't know
reading
why
that
the
thing
hell I'm
wrong for the
thinking.
last 2 weeks.
Yeah, I was like, wait a minute now. I was like, okay, it's at 10 a.m. Okay, I'm over here thinking like, damn, I gotta watch a wrestling event 10 p.m. at night, and it's 1 a.m. at your time.
Yeah, it is what it is, but I heard that Fanatics Fan Fest over the weekend that WWE was like the biggest part of it or like the most popular part of it.
Really, I was hearing a lot about that.
Yeah, I heard like all the WWE stars that were there, like their lines were the longest. And there was even this one clip of like this little girl trying to meet Rhea Ripley, trying to get past security. But as Rhea Ripley saw her, she like got past security and gave her a hug. Good shit.
Oh, that's good. Good. I saw one of the wrestlers. They're taking photos with my favorite soccer team.
Yeah, I heard it was a big success, but I heard it was a shit show though.
Oh, I bet. Where was it? Was that the convention center or where was this at exactly?
It was in New York, and apparently some of the WWE talent were booked for like a house show that night. So like some of them had to leave early before they can give people who paid for like autographed pictures of them the autographed pictures and all that jazz. Like people like paid for the chance to get to meet them, and they never got to meet some of them. So yeah, like a whole bunch of that bullshit apparently was going on.
I mean, I know it was in New York though, but like, was it at a convention center, or I mean, was it at a do you exactly where though?
I'm not 100% sure, but
Okay.
CM Punk was recently on an episode of the Masked Man show, and he was, talking about like all those different stories about him being a cancer in the locker room and all that other jazz. And here's what Punk had to say. That's all bullshit. None of that stuff is reality. Oh, he's a cancer. Listen, not everybody gets nice me. I treat you accordingly. If you're a piece of shit and you act that way to me, I will treat you that way. If you're nice, you're smiling, you want to have a good time, let's have a good time. I'm all hugs.
Hey man, he's changed. Not heard one bad thing from about him since he's been back. Can't believe he's about to be a year almost.
Well, actually, this weekend's going to be the 1 year anniversary of the altercation he had with Jack Perry backstage at All In, the
Yeah.
first at Wembley Stadium All In last year. This
Mm,
Tuesday is going to be the 1 year anniversary of when all that shit happened.
crazy.
And yesterday, believe it or not, was a 3 year anniversary of when CM Punk first came back and he debuted with AEW.
Yep.
Shit. I'll never
Can't believe that
forget
was 3
that
years
night.
ago. Nobody will.
Yeah, it was great to have Punk back in wrestling. Like, no one ever thought it would have happened. It was a huge, gigantic shot in the arm for AEW. That was probably the biggest pickup they got in the entire time they've been around.
Hmm.
But then, obviously, 1 year later, all the brawl out shit happened and the press conference bullshit happened. And yeah, it was just never the same after that.
Wow. Dude, there's been okay. I know AEW's been kind of like meh, but they with the announcement of them having an all in the state of Texas for the first time, that is big news.
Yes, it'll be taking place next July on July 12th at Globe Life Field in Dallas. Yes, so All In next year will be
Yeah,
taking place in Dallas as opposed to London.
home of the Texas Rangers.
Good shit. But yeah, getting back into those Punk comments real fast. Yes, you are right. He's been on his best behavior since he's been back in WWE. I haven't heard anything bad about him. I haven't heard
Hmm.
about any incidents, any fights, any trouble he's caused, or any of that jazz. But he's had enough of that reputation over the years, and even in some cases, he's even admitted himself where there is a lot of truth to those stories about him.
I mean, yeah, I mean um, when he did look when he came back, we were a little bit, were worried. Let's not hide that we were worried, but he has proved us wrong, and I'm actually happy to say that because dude, I've always been a CM Punk fan, man, always, and I want to see this guy succeed. He played a significant part of that downtime during the PG era, man. Like he was that shot that the company needed. You know what I mean? And when he left in 2014, I was bummed out, man. So
Yeah, I was bummed out too. Definitely as a fan, it made me sad that he bounced. But even though I am a fan of his and still am a fan of his, I have to be honest with myself. I've heard enough of these stories over the years and even seen parts of his own behavior myself with my own eyes where I know there was some truth to that.
yeah, yeah.
He deserves credit for the good things he's done, no doubt about it. I've always heard about good things he's done, like, buying Joey Mercury's house, like after he was about to lose it and all that jazz. But you do hear those negative sides of him of like, being an asshole to fans, being difficult to work with. So yeah, both of those things are part of his legacy. And yes, it is good that, he seems like he's mellowed out and he seems like he's better now. But just like Shawn Michaels back in the day, those stories about him from back then, those stories of him from back then of not being the nicest person to be around and, causing issues and all that jazz, you can't deny that shit either.
Oh no, 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 can't. No, I mean, of course not.
But it is what it is. And also, CM Punk was opening up recently about the fact that it's a lot easier for talent to get time off nowadays. Like, they only have to do it through this, like, simple app.
Really?
Yeah, like, just to request time off if they want to go to a kids event or, like, go to their kids thing or, be with their families or whatever. Yeah, it's just so simple through an app they can do it.
That is interesting, and I like that. I like that. Dude, look. I know how hard it was. I know it was been very rough just to, get a day off or whatever, years ago, even before our time. I remember, I need to listen to more of Undertaker's podcast. He said a story about how I think it was like, was it 90? It was like early 90s. Like it had to be like, 91 or 92 or something like that, right? He had tickets to go to a Evander Holyfield fight, right? He was excited for it, and then at the last minute, Vince needed him for a show in, I think, somewhere in California. It was a house. It was a house show that they needed him. I think, or was like a live. I don't know. I think it was like a live event or something like that. I don't know, but they needed him last minute because of the situation between Vince and Ultimate Warrior. Because that's when Warrior got fired, I believe. Yeah.
All around that time, I guess.
Yeah.
Okay.
Damn.
And just in general, Vince just ran them to the ground. Like you heard those stories all the
Mm.
time of how hectic the schedule
Mm-hmm.
was and how hard it was to get time off. They were never home. They would never get to have any kind of life outside of wrestling. And even Randy Orton talked about that recently. Randy Orton even recently said that, like in 2015, when he was having like really bad back problems, he asked Vince for some time off, and then Vince just said, "Yo, I need you for these shows, man. Father Time gets us all."
Shit.
Another reason to say fuck Vince McMahon, but we'll get into some more of those in a few minutes.
Mm.
Yeah, but I'm happy it's easier for talent to get time off if they needed to, like, go to events like involving their families or their kids or whatever. Yeah, I'm happy that the culture and the vibe of things backstage is a lot better now.
Yeah.
Good shit.
I love it. Kurt, I love it. Everything, the locker room is better. The vibe is different. And look, this all starts up at the top, man. At the, no pun intended, at the head of the table. Everything at the top flows down to the bottom, man. Everything, dude. That's in any business. Come on, like,
Absolutely.
dude, like, this everything is just, I love it, man. I absolutely love it. Like, seats, arenas are selling out. Merchandise sells, just everything, man. It's just, the mainstream, just everything's so different. I love it. You don't hear events.
Yeah.
You don't hear events selling out like so fast, within months, dude. Come on, like Bad Blood sold out fast. God know what's gonna happen when WrestleMania tickets goes on sale. Ooh.
Yeah, but while all of us are very happy that Vince is gone and have no problem shitting on Vince McMahon every chance we get, there are others who are still defending him. And one of those people who are still defending him is one Mark Henry, who was recently on JBL and Gerald Briscoe's podcast. And then we're talking about the whole Vince thing and the whole Vince situation. And this is what Marky Mark had to say.
Marky Mark.
He's going through a tough time and all the stuff that happened recently and stuff. I never saw none of that. I never heard no negativity like that. Some of those people that y'all talking about suffering, their suffering got worse when the money ran out. Like, where was all the suffering when they were getting BMWs and $1 million? Did that pacify the suffering? Because if you are suffering, you should be suffering all the time, right? Nothing should get in the way of that. I don't know. I just came from a different time. Bro, this was not it. This was not it. Ooh, this was a bad choice of words. Bad.
Was this a question? Was this a question that he was asked, or he just randomly just brought it up?
They were just talking about Vince because obviously they're all friends with Vince. They're all very close with Vince, and yeah, they were just, and that just came up, and yeah, that's where we ended up saying it.
Mm.
I mean, I like Mark Henry. Seems like a nice guy and all that good stuff, but this situation, and there's other situations I can use as examples where he just says like some real tone deaf ass shit.
Just not the right smart thing to do. I don't know, man. Like, just
It's
I
victim
get it.
blaming. It's victim blaming.
I get it. How, especially the older guys, the guys that we saw growing up. of course, they had a relationship with Vince, and they have that. Some of them are just complete. I mean, I don't think nobody's okay with what he did, but then there are some that just like
Have blind
I
loyalty.
don't know. Yeah, like they're maybe just saying it just to be nice, or maybe they're just saying that they don't want to upset him. I don't know what it is. I don't know what's going through their head. I don't know.
Well,
I
I
don't know
see.
what's going through their head.
Well, it's different, but I see with a lot of fans too when it comes to like Vince McMahon and also comes to Hogan, where they just have like blind loyalty to these people. Like no matter what badge, and also Trump supporters too, I'll throw in there, or any really political candidate for that matter, where like no matter what negative shit comes out about them, no matter what negative dumb shit that person says or does, certain people will just still ride with them, still support them, still make excuses for them. Nothing they can say or do
Mm.
will ever get these people to like ever say anything bad about them.
And you know what? You're not always supposed to agree with people, especially the people who you look up to. You know what I mean?
You can still be friends with them if you're friends with them, and you can still acknowledge the good things they did, but you also have to acknowledge the bad things they did, especially when it's bad things to this degree.
Yeah.
Yeah, because when you're talking about like the fact that the suffering ended when the money ran out. It's like, bro, yeah, it's nice to get paid, it's nice to get money, but that doesn't necessarily mean that all of your problems go away.
Right.
And why was it even cool for him to be paying her off in the first place? Why was that even okay in the first place to begin with?
Shouldn't be defended.
Yeah, and Mark Henry was like going on after that, talking about the times that like Vince McMahon would have like the legends on the show, like and get like as many of the legends on the show as possible, just so they can get paid and have a payday. How like he didn't have to do that, but he did it anyway. And look, that's nice. That's nice that he did that. That's great. But all that other bullshit that he did over the years, like all the shit we heard about with the women, all the shit we heard about him being the kind of boss he was, with like yelling at the announcers, and also not to mention the way the product sucked for all the time that it did when he was in charge. Yo, that bullshit is also a part of his legacy, and you can't give him a pass for that.
Oh.
Look, at the end of the day, yes, he is the reason why we became fans. He's the reason why we pretty much got into wrestling in the first place. But all that other negative bullshit, that those black clouds that hang over him, you can't just ignore it.
Cannot imagine if he was still in charge. Right.
Oh God, I don't even want to know. I
Oh.
don't even know if I would still be watching wrestling if he was still in charge,
Oh
or
man.
WWE at least.
Oh, can't imagine. Woo.
Yeah, there's just so many different examples of like why it's just so much better that he's not there anymore.
Yeah.
I know it's not healthy, but it's just hard for me to resist the urge to say fuck Vince McMahon whenever I get the chance to.
This kind of this is why I love the Dark Knight. How that quote is so strong. That was like the biggest. That pretty much was like the theme of that whole movie. You either die a hero or you live long enough to see yourself as the villain. Oh man,
Ooh, and
that cuts
Vince
so
McMahon,
deep.
yeah, from this perspective, Vince McMahon really became the villain around that 2001 2002 period.
Oh,
Yeah, and even Bret Hart did an interview recently, and he was opening up about Vince, specifically the punch he gave to Vince in Montreal. And this is basically what he said. Perfect Bret Hart quote. It was the greatest punch I ever threw. I lifted him about a foot off the ground. Vince McMahon can rot in hell.
wow.
Yeah, like Mark Henry can defend him all he wants. JBL and Gerald Briscoe, they can defend him all he wants. And certain fans online I see can defend him all they want. But I see through all that bullshit. I Just the skits alone he would do on TV with the women were proof enough. Yeah, like I'm not stupid, bro. And even with the allegations aside, like even if the allegations never came up, and even if he never harmed a woman a day in his life, just from a creative standpoint, he had to go, and he should have gone a long time ago.
Hmm.
And even Ronda Rousey did an interview with Chris Van Vleit recently, and she was opening up about all of her different experiences with Vince. And one of the things that she said that she stood out was that instead of enabling the women to have good matches, they would have to fight against him in order to have good matches.
Oh, wow. In order to have good matches, that doesn't sound
Yeah,
right.
And she also confirmed like all those stories we were hearing about, like, him ripping up the script like an hour before the show started.
I heard it. Yeah, I heard a lot about that for years, man. How he'll change things at the last minute, or you'll see something you didn't like it.
Yeah, and the shows we would get on Raw every week were proof of that. Look, we didn't have to read the dirt sheets. We didn't have to read like random comments online from people or Dave Meltzer or whoever else. We could just tell by watching the fucking show.
Man,
It was loud and clear. And I even said myself that 2019 period was like, ever since I started watching wrestling again, that was like the one year where I felt like I was really getting pushed away from it. And guess who was pushing me away from it?
it's
Because he was the reason why we became fans initially, but over these last few years, he's been the main reason why a lot of people stopped being fans.
yeah,
And in many cases, had to fight to stay fans despite his bullshit.
yep.
And also, like when Chris Van Vleit was like asking, like if she ever got like anxiety when she was about to walk to the back to like Gorilla, if like Vince was gonna say anything to her, like criticize her match, and she basically responded to this question as she laughed. I don't give a fuck about that. I really didn't give a fuck about what Vince thought. To be honest, I just wanted to have a great match. And then she even went on to say that like going to WWE and going to work every day was like walking through like a swamp of sadness. She kind of compared it to the movie Never Ending Story. Like going to work every day was like walking through that swamp of sadness from the movie. And like how basically she would like come into the arena and just like pass by Vince McMahon and all the other like cronies that he had and just say fuck you guys, I'm going to do my work. And then as she would leave and pass by them, she would say fuck you guys, I have my kid to take care of. And I don't want to hear anything from you, Vince, unless you have something to say about next week's show, which you don't because you're never prepared and you're never organized.
Ooh, I, I think that's the perfect word to describe it. Unorganized.
Yeah, she said that multiple times that like it baffled her that that company was so successful and so huge and had been running for as long as it had, but yet it was so unorganized the way that it was.
Right. It's not good.
And also, yeah, she got into the fact that how she always wanted to be a heel, but Vince made her be a babyface most of the time. And also, Chris asked her like why that rematch with Becky Lynch never happened, and her response was because Vince McMahon is an old asshole.
Huh.
But she said she does like Triple H and she does like Stephanie. She like said nothing but good things about them. But she said as far as Vince McMahon, John Laurinaitis, and Bruce Pritchard goes, they can all suck a dick.
Oh.
I mean, I don't have that much of an issue with Bruce Pritchard, like I said
Oh.
before. Like other than him defending a lot of Vince's bullshit, I don't have a personal issue with him. Laurinaitis and Vince is another story. I fuck both of those dudes.
Right.
Yeah, she talked about that. She talked about how once she found out she wasn't gonna get the rematch with Becky, she like threatened to quit if they weren't gonna let her like be in a tag team with Shayna Baszler and eventually let them have that match together that they had at SummerSlam last year. Yeah, she threatened to quit unless they were gonna let her do that, which obviously that's the reason why it happened. And she talked about that match with Shayna Baszler at SummerSlam last year about how it wasn't really for the fans there. It was really more for themselves. Like a lot of the stuff they did in that match was like call back to like classic MMA moments that like really only they knew about. So like basically that match was just for themselves. It wasn't for the fans.
Hmm. Well, you know what? I always live by this motto. Uh, you know, you got to go through a dark day to get to the light.
Yeah, definitely. And she said she'd be open to coming back eventually. She said she wouldn't be 100% against it, especially considering that Triple H is in charge now.
Yeah.
And she even said that match with Becky and Charlotte at WrestleMania 35, she was like trying to position her shoulders to be down, and that's why it looked the way it did, where like it didn't seem like her shoulders were down the way they were supposed to be. And then she wanted to leave that open for a rematch. She wanted to build off of that to do an eventual rematch between the two, which obviously they never did for whatever reason. And yeah, she said mainly she was just upset about like that second run that she had, which obviously we can all agree was not very good. And she talked about how she didn't have as much time to rehearse like matches and go over things the way that she did before. And how like sometimes the reason why the promos would be as bad as they were with her is because she would be fighting with the writers to like not have to say certain things a certain way because it would make her look weak or make her look corny. And like she would like literally be fighting with the writers up until the show started to get things fixed, and that's why like it would come out the way it would in the end. That was the reason she gave for it. So yeah, basically the whole interview like kind of like just sums up why certain things there didn't work out and why certain things with her turned out the way she did. And yeah, she blames everything else. She blames Vince and the way it was ran and all that, which I'm not saying isn't true, but it's clear that, she blames everybody else for all that stuff, but she doesn't really, call herself out for any of that stuff.
Hmm. I always love Chris Van Vliet's interviews. He does a very, damn good job as a journalist, and I love his interviews, no matter who he interviews. But that is an interesting interview right there.
Yeah, it's a good interview. It's about an hour or so long.
Yeah,
Yeah, Chris Van Vliet always gets like the A-list people on his shows.
of course. You got freaking Ice Cube's son on there.
O'Shea Jackson Jr. Yes, he did.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Also another interview I watched before we went on the show was John Cena's interview with Shannon Sharp, Club Shay.
I heard about that. Yeah, yes, I heard.
His Mount Rushmore of hip hop was pretty interesting.
Really?
Yeah, he put on his Mount Rushmore of hip hop Nas, Jay-Z, Eminem, and Rakim.
Oh, yeah, okay. Good taste. Good taste.
Yeah, but he said he kind of fell out of hip hop like after Drake came out. Like he said, like Drake was like one of the last like real people he got into, and like ever since then he's never really listened to like any newer hip hop at least. And he he was completely clueless when it came to the Drake and Kendrick Lamar beef to the point where he was asking who won.
I mean, does he like J. Cole or Kendrick or like? No?
He didn't really talk about them much. Like I said, like he said that basically Drake was like the last real like rapper he got into before like he kind of like fell out of it.
Yeah. You know what? Just like with wrestling, man. Well, I mean, not now, but like wrestling a few years ago, it's kind of like how hip hop is now. Just not into it. Just what's the like a state of flux? Like it's just you're not feeling it. Like I don't listen to the radio no more. As a matter of fact, I think I stopped listening to the radio like years ago.
All it is well, not all of it, but a healthy chunk of what it is now is a lot of these like modern female rappers talking about how their man better pay for everything and how I'm a bad chick. Yeah, same tired bullshit.
I mean, it is not just the female rappers too; it's the male ones too. They be saying the same thing, just rapping about what are you talking about? You know what I mean?
Nothing I give a shit about.
Right.
Yeah, but it was a very good interview. I really liked the question Shannon Sharp asked. And that's one thing John Cena kept complimenting him on was the fact that he was asking like such good questions and like he really seemed like he did his homework. That's one thing I'll give Shannon Sharp props for. Like you could definitely tell with his interviews that he does his research and that he takes it seriously.
Of course. Oh, that's why this show is very successful, man. You have to do your research and just know how to not just how to, talk it, talk the talk, but you got to walk that walk too. Delivery in your interviews is very important.
Yeah, everyone was giving him shit recently about the interview he had with that Amanda Seals girl. Everyone was saying that like he came off bad and that she should have done an interview with somebody who was more intellectual and all that. And I just said to myself, bro, that girl has had problems with everybody. That girl has had problems with a list of people a mile long. Even Issa Rae, she has issues with. But yeah, that Cena interview was really good. As far as like his wrestling career, like as far as his actual feuds, they don't really get too deeply into that. But overall, yeah, it's just a good ass conversation.
That's good.
But before we get out of here, we do have AEW All In this coming Sunday taking place from Wembley Stadium. And this is one stacked ass card. I cannot wait.
Oh my God.
This will be my first AEW show I'll be watching live in over a year.
Ooh. And with one particular match that a lot of stakes.
Yes, and that match you are talking about is Swerve Strickland against Bryan Danielson for the AEW World Title. And if Bryan Danielson loses, he has to retire.
Man.
Ooh,
the title versus the career.
No Way Out 2000 vibes.
The title versus the career, Kurt. Ooh, man. Look, Swerve Strickland's been a damn good job as champion, dude.
Yeah, he has, and it's even funny that I think Bryan Danielson was talking about it, and he talked about like the fact that like his family's gonna be at ringside for All In, and how like his daughter Birdie's gonna be at ringside, and how she kind of hopes that he loses so he doesn't have to wrestle anymore. And then Swerve
Oh,
Strickland in a post responding to this said, "Don't worry, Birdie, I'll take care of it."
whoa,
Oh
whoa.
shit.
Wow.
Yeah, this is going to be a big one. I'm happy for Bryan Danielson because he had to miss last year's All In show due to injury. So he gets to be on this year's show in the main event for the championship. And I think he probably wins and gets that big moment.
Really?
Yeah, I don't know why, but I have a feeling, a gut feeling that he's going to
I
win.
thought I kind of felt the opposite.
Yeah, because I know his injuries have been piling up lately, and he said this is going to be his last year wrestling full time before he, like, he winds down his career. So yeah, there is a chance that he could
Yeah.
lose. And I think now he's only working on an extended contract because his wrestling contract expired, I believe, in the beginning of the month. But I feel like now, but I heard like now apparently he's working with just a contract extension, so that could also play into the match's outcome. But I think I'm gonna stick by my pick. I think Bryan Danielson by some way is gonna end up winning and having like a relatively short title reign, but or get a title reign regardless. It's the one thing he's not accomplished in AEW was becoming the world champion.
You know what? Regardless of what happens, it's going to be a very emotional moment.
Oh yeah, that crowd, that setting, yeah, it's gonna be a big deal.
Very. On It's going to be very emotional for Daniel Bryanson, whether if he wins or loses. So, ooh, this is big.
Definitely watching that show, no questions asked. Also, we have for the TBS Championship, Mercedes Monet. I'm gonna come up with a female Logan Paul nickname for her at some point. Give it time. Defending the TBS title.
Oh God.
It's getting to that point, bro. I'm not gonna lie. She's starting to like kind of irritate me a little bit.
As a character or as a person?
I would say more as a character, but from the parts I'm seeing of her character and from certain things I've kind of heard about her in real life, it's kind of starting to stretch into that department.
Ooh.
Yeah, like I defended her as long as I could, but I just kind of get that vibe from her, and just from certain things she kind of just says in interviews where I'm like, why the fuck did you even need to say that for? It's kind of like, yeah, putting up that because yesterday she put up a post about like how her brother like had some kind of incident or was like falling ill or something, and how she had to rush to go see him. And in the post, she was talking about how like it's good to work for a company who allows you to take care of these emergencies, unlike other companies who just don't care. Why did you even need to say that?
Random.
And also that story a month ago, she was talking about like with that situation with her husband, how she bitched at him for like making her outfit that she didn't like.
Yeah, that's when yeah, that was a raise an eyebrow on that one. I didn't like that. I'm sorry. There's no defending that at all.
Yeah, just certain things about her, like yeah, kind of just give me a bad vibe.
Yeah, I don't. I'm not feeling it. There's no defending it. No excuses, or justification for it. Especially the fact that your husband made it. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know exactly what style that she wanted it though, but like I didn't like it at all.
Yeah, a story like that is not going to make you come off looking good.
Right.
Yeah, well, but I think we talked about this probably too long. But also in another one of the marquee matches for the TBS Championship, we have Mercedes Monet with her new bodyguard Camille defending the title against Britt Baker,
Oh.
whose name has not been coming up under the most positive circumstances lately.
Mm.
Yeah, I kind of felt like this whole feud peaked in the very beginning when they had that segment on Dynamite about a month and a half ago. Yeah, ever since then, this feud hasn't been as interesting, but this is still a match I'm looking forward to.
Same here, especially when she made her return, and like, yes, finally we have somebody for Mercedes Monet to feud with. So this is gonna stretch. This feud is gonna stretch. I think Britt Baker is not gonna win, not just yet. So let the feud continue. So, but regardless, I love it.
Yeah, I think Mercedes retains. She just got the belt a few months ago. She's getting paid a whole lot of fucking money at that, too. And I feel like her as a villain is too, I guess, compelling right now to take the belt off of her. I know people still don't like her promos and all that jazz, and people still talk shit about her. But as I said before, as a villain, as a heel character on TV, she's good at it. And she has good matches too. She has very great
Hmm.
matches on top of that.
Very good.
And like I said, you don't have to be a fan of hers personally, or even Britt Baker's personally from some of the things we've been hearing about her lately. But when it comes to putting on a match, putting on a performance, and being a character on TV, you can't deny the value they bring in those areas.
True.
Yeah, so I'm looking forward to this match. I do think Mercedes retains. Also for the TNT Championship, this one should be interesting. We have Timeless Tony Storm defending against her former protege, Mariah May. I just love that angle they did after the Owen Hart Cup tournament wrapped up a few weeks ago, where Mariah May turned on Tony Storm and like hit her with the heel in the head and bloodied her up. Yo, that shit was nuts.
Damn.
That's why I'm getting the vibe that this match is going to be very violent.
Hmm.
Think of the Thunder Rosa and Britt Baker matches from a few years ago, like that hardcore rules match they had on
Oh.
Dynamite in
Oh
2021.
my God. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh my God.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's the vibe I'm getting from this. Possibly even worse.
Yeah. Those are violent. Wow.
I think Mariah May ends up winning the title. I feel like considering the fact that she won the
Okay.
tournament and that she turned on Tony Storm the way she did, and now she has that momentum behind her, I feel like that momentum is going to lead to her winning the title.
Hmm. Okay.
And also we have MJF defending the international title or the American title, or whatever the hell he
Duh.
calls it, against Will
Right.
Ospreay. Will Ospreay. That match would be crazy.
Yeah.
If it's
We all know that MJF is going to retain. He's going to, try to make that belt as prestigious. He just got the belt made, so there's really no need to for him to take it off of him just yet.
It could go either way. I just know if it's anything like their match they had on Dynamite a few weeks ago, that match that literally went 59 minutes. Oh, this one is
Good
going to
Lord.
be special. This one is going to be special. MJF is kind of reminding me of John Cena, like in the latter part of his career when he was like having these like banger ass matches after banger ass matches. After all the years, like people would talk shit about how he can't wrestle and how his matches suck and he only has like 5 moves. Yeah, this is kind of what MJF is reminding me of, with like the fact that like people always say that he had bad matches and he wasn't a good wrestler. With the bangers he's been putting out all these years, these last few years, he's putting all those doubts and all that bullshit to bed. And I feel like he's about to prove himself once again with this match. And it could even be better than that match he had with Adam Cole last year, that main evented.
Hmm.
I don't know if it'll be as big as last year's was. Definitely attendance wise, it won't be as big as last year's was. But I still think it'll be a show that delivers in the end.
I agree. This card is a really stacked card. A lot of writings on the wall, and it's shaping up really good. And I can't wait for it.
We also have Jack Perry against Darby Allin for the TNT Championship. We have a three-way for the AEW Tag Titles between the Young Bucks, FDR, and also the Acclaimed. And we have an FDW Championship match between the Learning Tree that he calls himself now, Chris Jericho, and Hook. Yeah, people have been getting sour on Jericho these last few months.
Why is that?
Just his character is kind of starting to feel like he's overstaying his welcome. Like his storylines and feuds he's been in lately haven't been that interesting. And like to the point where like some people are even chanting, "Please retire." That he even responded to recently, how he said that, "Why the fuck am I gonna retire? I like where I work. I like the people who I work with. I like what I do. I'm gonna retire because one idiot in the crowd tells me to."
Hey, nice comeback.
Yeah, I get it, but admittedly, so I haven't been as interested in his storylines and yeah, his character on TV in a hot minute.
Hmm.
Is what it is. But also one person who may be done with AEW soon is Saraya, as her contract's about to expire, I believe, next month.
Really?
I remember when she left WWE a few years ago, they chose to not renew her contract, which is why she ended up leaving. And her AEW run had its moments, like her first match back was cool. And then she won the AEW title at the All In show in Wembley last year, which was a great moment. But overall, yeah, her stint in AEW has not been that memorable. I know she hasn't wrestled that much anyway, but just in general, yeah, it has not been like anything that stands out that much other than those moments I mentioned.
That sucks.
Well, if that's the case, maybe she will end up back in WWE because she said that
Yeah.
Triple H like contacted her after her contract was up and saying, "I didn't know about you leaving. I didn't know about your contract expiring. If you ever want to come back, we'll have a place for you, etc." So who knows? Maybe
That's
she'll end up
good.
back there. Maybe she'll end up back.
Yeah, that's good. The offer is there.
Yeah. And also before we get out of here, Hulk Hogan put his foot in his mouth once again. That dumb old fuck. Talking about presidential nominee Kamala Harris at a bar. He was on stage talking, and he was like, trying to act like Stone Cold Steve Austin, where he would say something, and the crowd would say like, "What?" afterwards. And he said, "I'm gonna drink 1 beer, 2 beers, 3 beers, 4 beers," and the crowd kept saying, "What?" And then he got into Kamala Harris, and he says, "Do you want me to body slam Kamala Harris? Hit her with a leg drop? Is she a chameleon? Is she an Indian?" And then he went on to say, like, okay, that's just the beer talking.
What the fuck?
Bro, he's like really, I guess, catering to these hardcore Trump supporters now. Like, I guess, like, after that whole rant came out a few years ago with the racist stuff he was saying, I guess, like, now he's coming to the point where, like, he just doesn't care anymore. Like, he's just going to say this shit just freely. Because now he found an audience that will support him no matter what.
Oh, just pushing it, man. Just over pushing it. Just I asked it's funny because I asked my girlfriend like a few weeks ago. I asked her, I was like, "Hey, when is the next debate?" She said
Well,
sometime like next month.
yeah, September, I believe, 10th. Yeah, September 10th, I heard is the first debate between Trump and Kamala Harris. The Democratic National Convention is happening this week.
I saw I saw this funny tweet yesterday. How somebody said the Democratic and Republican national conventions are pretty much like a comic are pretty much are compared to like comic cons for people who like politics.
Yeah.
I could see that. I laughed so hard. I was like, that is actually true. When you really think about it. Oh man.
The only thing
Uh,
is, I'm not really sure which fan base is more toxic. I would say the political
I don't know.
is the more toxic.
Yeah, oh yeah. Oh, my bad, my bad. I thought you
Yeah.
meant like
No,
which
as far as
parties.
like
No, I was like,
people,
I wouldn't know. Like,
not just in general,
no,
as
no.
far as people who are like hardcore
Uh,
Republicans or hardcore
it's
Democrats, yeah, they are the most toxic group of people I've ever come across in my life. Like you talk about no accountability, you talk about like turning a blind eye to like what their leaders do and what the people they like do. You could see that in both of their sides. You could see that very vividly in both sides.
I feel it.
Yeah, and it's crazy.
Uh,
Hogan's birthday was just like a week and a half ago. Also, Vince's birthday is this Saturday. He turns I believe 79 years old.
oh really?
Obviously, you remember SummerSlam 2003 where he like made that run in an angle match.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. I remember that. And then that's when Michael Cole chimed in, "Happy birthday, Vince!" When he got after he got Angle slammed on the steel chair by Kurt
And
Angle.
then
Yeah,
after the
I
show,
remember.
and then after the show went off the air, they all like sang happy birthday for him and they all celebrated with him and all that good stuff.
That I didn't. I did not know that. I did not know that.
Yeah, after SummerSlam '03 goes off the air, like everybody comes out to sing happy birthday for Vince and like Austin brings out
You
beer.
saw? Is there a video of this?
I'm sure there is. I'm sure you could find it online somewhere.
Okay, I gotta look. I gotta look this up. I'm gonna look for it.
Yeah, but I still say fuck Vince McMahon even on his birthday.
Who was wishing him on his birthday? I don't think nobody would. So
Shit, I wasn't wishing him no happy birthday. I'm not wishing Hulk Hogan no happy birthday either. Yeah, it's just so disappointing and sad, like what happened to these two dudes, like how they were like at the forefront of like the wrestling boom in the '80s, and how like they were both seemingly on top of the world. And look at the disgrace that both of them have become now.
mm,
Ah, well, they give me good material to write this song's about, so I'll take it. Yeah, it's funny. I'm not even a fan of Kamala Harris like that. Like I don't really dislike her, but I'm like not really one of those people who are like jumping on the bandwagon, like worshiping her feet and like saying, Kamala Harris, you're the greatest. Kamala Harris, you go girl. Kamala Harris, you're my hero. I'm not really, hopping on that tip.
Look, all I know is that when it comes to the debates, that's where I'm like, okay, I'm paying attention. I want to hear what you got to say. So
Yeah, even those I can't sit through. It's just such blatant bullshit. Just people just embarrassing themselves, acting like children. I'm like, bro, I'm not gonna sit through this crap. If I want to watch childlike entertainment, I'll put on '90s Nickelodeon. That's what I'll
ooh, that's
watch.
the best way to go. I actually been watching some of it. Well, it's been a while. I think last something I watched was Hey Arnold.
Yeah, I think they took most of that stuff they had from Nickelodeon off of Hulu. It was on Hulu
It's
for a
on
minute, but
Prime,
they
so
took it
I'm good.
off. Also, you got to watch that documentary, The Orange Years, the one about like the whole Nickelodeon fad that blew up in the '90s. You got to check that
Wait, the
out.
positive one?
Yeah, it's a positive one. It's not like the dark
Oh, oh, thank
one.
God. Oh, thank. Ooh,
Yeah, it's on Hulu.
ooh, you scared me.
Yeah, it's on Hulu. Check it
Oh,
out.
okay.
And also, before we get out of here, one more
Oh,
thing. Pat McAfee this past Monday was his last appearance on Raw for the next few months because he has to go back doing
yeah.
college football duties.
Yep, that's right, ladies and gentlemen. Okay. Look, I'm. Hey, look, you gotta, freaking, I'm excited right now. Yeah, it's sad that we have to lose him temporarily. I mean, he does a damn good job as a color commentator along with Michael Cole. Okay, but yes, footballs. He has other, um, yeah, he has other. What's the word? Duties. He has other duties, and yes, football season starts. College football season starts this Saturday. He does the college game day every Saturday. I love that show. Always loved that show as a kid. So yeah, he has other duties to attend to, but he will be back once Raw moves to Netflix in January. I loved how after the air he said his final goodbyes to the fans, and this is not a goodbye. This is like more like a see you later type of deal. You know what I mean? So it sucks that he has to leave though. But like, hey, look, if you were still gonna, you still want to see Pat McAfee, look, he still has his show on ESPN. You can see him every Saturday when he's covering college football. So he's still there, man. He just won't be part of wrestling for the remainder of this year. So
Yeah, they did this whole like video package for him and everything on Raw
yeah,
Monday.
you can
And like
see
Michael
like he
Cole was
was like
like,
leaving.
yeah, and Michael Cole was like, yo, I'm gonna miss you, bro. It's been real. Like, yo, you're acting like the dude's gonna retire. I'm like, relax, he'll be back in a few months.
Right. He'll be back in January, fool.
Look, I mean, I get being sad that he's gonna be like, gone for a while, like, and you'll miss him. But yo, like, you act like the dude is like retiring and that he's never gonna be back.
Yeah.
You're acting like this is like Shawn Michaels' retirement from 2010.
Right. He'll be back, dude. Come on. I'm excited, man. I'm excited for next month, dude. I'm going to a college football game here in Vegas in a couple weeks.
Oh,
Football
clutch.
season's literally right around the corner. Oh my God.
Oh, good shit, man. It sounds like a good way to spend your Saturday.
Labor Day weekend.
Oh shit, Labor Day weekend too. Good for
Yeah.
you. Oh, it'll be the
Ticket.
day of bashing Berlin though.
No,
Ah,
no,
well, you
it's
can
no,
watch it
no,
on
no,
replay.
no, 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 no. It's the day after. The football game's on Sunday.
Okay, never mind.
Yeah, they announced the game like what about a year ago, but the event is sold out now. I was like, thank God I got my tickets like months ago.
Good shit. Good
Yeah,
shit.
can't wait.
All right, but I think we've said what we needed to say tonight. Enjoy AEW All In this Sunday at Wembley Stadium. This show is going to be a big fucking deal and possibly the final time we ever see Bryan Danielson wrestle.
Maybe it's all I say. All I know is it's going to be very emotional. So just be prepared for that.
Get your tissue boxes ready. It's about to get real.
Woof.
If Bryan Danielson ends up losing, I hope he doesn't, but if he does end up losing, I just hope that they don't do this whole like retirement send off for him and all that, and you're all sad that he's retired, and then he comes back a month later like Mick Foley did.
Yeah.
Yeah, we don't need that shit to happen again. But all right, but that's another story. So guys, take care. Have a good weekend. Enjoy yourselves. For John Randall, this is Conscious Kurt with another edition of the Clash of the Champions. And remember, as I say on this show every week, and I will say it again, please, I beg you, do not be an asshole or a douchebag in real life or social media, because that shit is for the birds. And Logan Paul, too.
Oh my God. And what I will always say, and I always say this every day: God bless, stay safe, ladies and gentlemen. Keep your loved ones close, be cool.
Have a good one, guys.